It was a bright, bustling morning when Emily awoke to the sound of her alarm pouring through her small apartment like an uninvited guest. She yawned, stretching her arms over her head, and climbed out of bed, feeling the excitement of a new day tangling with her nerves. Today was the big presentation at work, and she needed everything to be perfect. As Emily moved to her dresser, she caught a glimpse of her reflection. Her nails, freshly manicured and painted a vibrant red, were the perfect accompaniment to her meticulously chosen outfit, a crisp white blouse and a pinstripe skirt that brushed just above her knees. With one final look in the mirror, she whispered to herself, "You've got this." The commute to work was as chaotic as ever. The streets of the city pulsed with life, cars honking, pedestrians weaving between traffic, and street vendors calling out to potential customers. Emily stepped onto the subway, her heart racing alongside the train. Around her, the usual morning crowd was lost in their own worlds, but her mind was firmly rooted in the upcoming presentation, the culmination of months of relentless work. Her team had pulled together, and today was the day they'd unveil their proposal to the elusive Mr. Harris, the company's enigmatic CEO. Finally arriving at the office, Emily took a deep breath and stepped into the elevator, cramming in with a few colleagues. Her boss, Sandra, smiled encouragingly. "Ready to shine, Emily?" she asked, her voice a mixture of encouragement and expectation. "Absolutely," Emily replied, her determination solidifying. With only a few minutes to spare, she hurried to her desk, gathering her notes and organizing her thoughts. As she reached for her laptop, disaster struck. Her wrist caught the edge of the table, and with a sickening crack, the long, polished nail of her index finger snapped, reverberating through her hand with a painful jolt. "Ow, damn it!" Emily hissed, cradling her finger. She glanced around, hoping nobody noticed her moment of clumsiness, but Sandra was already by her side, concern etched on her face. "What happened?" Sandra asked, eyes widening as she noticed the broken nail. "My nail broke," Emily replied through gritted teeth, her voice wavering between frustration and pain. "And it hurts like hell." "Let me see," Sandra insisted, gently examining the damage. "Ouch, that looks painful. Why don't you go fix it up? You need to focus on the presentation, not the pain." Reluctantly, Emily nodded, heading to the restroom as she whispered a silent prayer that she'd keep it together. In the dim, fluorescent light of the restroom, she carefully washed and bandaged her finger, each movement a reminder of her body's betrayal. As she stared at her reflection, frustration simmered beneath the surface. "It's just a nail," she muttered to herself. "You can do this." Minutes later, Emily returned to the meeting room, feeling more composed. Her team was assembled, laptops open and ready. Mr. Harris sat at the head of the table, his hawk-like gaze scanning the room. As the presentation began, Emily pushed aside the lingering ache in her finger, channeling her energy into her words. Her voice resonated with a newfound confidence as she explained their proposal, engaging the room with intricate strategies and projected outcomes. Her colleagues nodded in agreement, and even Mr. Harris appeared intrigued, his stern expression softening as the presentation unfolded. Emily finished with a flourish, the room briefly encapsulated in silence before erupting into applause. "Excellent work, Emily," Mr. Harris finally said, nodding appreciatively. "You've made quite an impression." Emily exhaled, relief washing over her as she smiled back at her team, the earlier agony of her broken nail a mere shadow of the triumph she felt. Walking back to her desk, Sandra clapped her on the shoulder. "You nailed it, Emily," she quipped, and Emily chuckled despite herself. "Thanks, Sandra. I guess I did," she replied, her grin widening as the weight of the morning's events lifted, leaving her free to bask in the satisfaction of a job well done.